You're still watching Breakfast Central on News Central. Let's take you to South Africa, where a month after the unrest that rocked the countries and the government, now human rights organizations are still grappling with the reasons for the violent looting. Now, economists, however, believe that the effects of the looting have yet to be fully experienced in the losses of jobs, and the government have also vowed to investigate the reasons behind all that looting. But what about the 337 lost lives in the process?
Well, Amnesty International South Africa is therefore calling for thorough investigation, not only into the economic damage, but also into the massive loss of lives. Now, joining us from all the way from South Africa is Amnesty International South Africa Executive Director, Shenilla Mohamed. Good morning and welcome to the program. Now, there are currently several investigations that are planned to look at the reason for the unrest. Do you actually believe there's a need for the Commission of Inquiry to go into the effects and reasons for the unrest?
Good morning to your viewers. Well, in our view, there is no need for a Commission of Inquiry. We have seen many commissions of inquiry in South Africa. I mean, at the moment, the Zondo Commission looking at corruption and state capture has just wrapped up at a cost of over 1 billion rand. We saw the Marikana Commission of Inquiry at a cost of 53 million rand. And, today we are still seeing no results coming out of the Marikana Massacre Commission. So in our view, there is enough evidence. Sorry, guys. In our view, there's enough evidence out there already that does not require a Commission of Inquiry. We feel that Amnesty in South Africa itself has done its own investigation on the ground. And, this is not something that came out of the blues. It was being announced. It was being spread on social media. There was a lot of knowledge that this was going to happen. I think what we need now is thorough investigations into the causes of death of those people that have died, but also the instigators, the ones who started it, the ones who were responsible for it. And we're still seeing the damage even today. Chemical companies have gone up in flames, which has resulted in huge environmental concerns. Billions and billions has been lost in economic, with shops being looted, with people's businesses going up in smoke. So what we need to see now is action being taken against those responsible. And, we know that people have been arrested. A special court has been set up to deal with this, but we still have yet to see prosecutions. So we need to start seeing the state arm moving to ensure that the prosecutions happen, that those that are accountable are brought to justice.
Well, Shenilla, you mentioned about lots of people dying. More than 300 people died, and there's still no clarity on how many of them actually died in terms of the number. Surely there should be more priority on this, don't you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think that, that the fact that over 300 people have died is a horrendous failure on the part of the state. And as an Amnesty International, we lay the blame solely at the door of the South African government because, the intelligence services failed, the state arms like the police failed. They failed to protect citizens who have the right to life. And, if you think about the fact that it was only 4 days later that the police actually got into action. I mean, why is nobody being held to account for that? Because somebody has to pay for the lives of those that have died, and it's got to be the state. First of all, they were late in responding. Secondly, their security intelligence failed. And thirdly, there's still no report on causes of death of each of these, over the 300 people that have died. And, they died unnecessarily. This could have been avoided had the state responded effectively, not only to prevent this, but to prevent the loss of life.
Right. Now, talking about late response by the state, if there were to be some sort of commission of inquiry or investigation, what key areas should the commission focus on?
Well, first of all, I think we need to understand how we got there in the first place. So, if you go back into what happened, the violence and the looting started after the incarceration of the former president Jacob Zuma, who was sentenced to 15 months by the Constitutional Court for contempt of court because he refused to appear before the Zondo Commission of Inquiry that is looking into state capture under his leadership. And this is what the trigger was. And, so we need a commission of inquiry, if we are going to have one, to look at, who were the instigators of this, because it didn't just happen. There were instigators behind it. People, were responsible for, and if you look at the businesses that were targeted, it was very, very strategic. I mean, the president of this country said clearly it was an insurrection. It was not just about people going out into the streets. So there was a clear plan. We need to know who was behind this. We also need to know why the state apparatus failed. So why did the police take 4 days to respond? Why were the police not stopping looters when they were looting? What caused the failure of the intelligence services? And, why are we still under threat? I mean, just about a week ago, there was a warning issued that there may be further unrest and looting. Why are we still here? Why are those responsible not being brought to justice? So we need to unpack what happened, and that's what a state of inquiry would do. But also we need to bring perpetrators to justice, because this was a horrendous moment in the history of South Africa where a lot of economic gains have been unraveled, and we have yet to see the impacts. We already see that in April of this year, it was noted that 10 million people in this country do not have a proper food, so people are starving. We've seen COVID hit people's jobs. There's a 32.6% unemployment. So the country was already reeling under economic crisis before COVID and before this crisis hit us. And of course, who is going to suffer at the end of it? It's the people of South Africa. They're the ones who have lost jobs. They're the ones who are really going to be further plunged into poverty and inequality.
Well, Shenilla, you mentioned about the instigators there, but there have also been lots of speculation about the reasons for the unrest and the looting. But many experts have also pointed to perhaps the social underlying economic issues in the country. What do you make of this?
Well, South Africa has got one of the highest inequalities in the world. The rainbow dream post-1994 has never come true. The economy is still very much controlled by, big business, by corporates. And, the people of South Africa have not seen the gains. I mean, we have, like 53% of people don't have access to clean drinking water. People are still living in horrible conditions in shacks. The people of South Africa, the majority of them are not benefiting from, what the independence was supposed to have brought for them. But when it comes to this particular violence and looting, I mean, our analysis as Amnesty International is that actually, it's very easy to instrumentalize and to use people who are already unhappy, who are already, disaffected by the state, who already feel like they have been failed, and who are hungry, who do not have jobs. And, in this instance, it was easy for those that were instigating this violence as a political message to President Ramaphosa's government to utilize these poor people. So, the people, were informed ahead that this looting is going to take place. They were encouraged to go and loot. And we saw this happening. And what was so interesting is that it wasn't just poor people that were looting. It was middle-class people. There were some rich people who were looting. There were people of all races, of all, stratas of society that were looting. So again, they were opportunists, but amongst them were poor people. The majority were poor people. And I think, when you are poor and somebody says to you, listen, go, there's a food shop that we're going to set on fire, go and get as much food as you want. If you are poor, if you don't know how you're going to feed your family, why would you say no to that? Right. So again, we're seeing an instrumentalization of poverty, inequality for political gains.
Well, lots to unpack there, but thank you so much to Shenilla Mohamed, Executive Director, Amnesty International South Africa, for coming on the program today, Breakfast Center. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.